It is the border czar himself, Tom Homan. Tom, how are you, my friend? Good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
It's
I'm
always
busy. I'm busy.
No, I know you are, brother, and I appreciate you calling. We're live across the country right now. Thank you for the time. I wanted to just get right into the nitty-gritty. I just played some sound bites from Stacey Abrams, sound bites from people like Karen Bass, people like Brandon Johnson in Chicago, all literally saying that we're not going to support ICE. You're kidnapping people off the streets. I know that, Tom, you're a no-nonsense guy. How do you react to people like that when they get in your way?
Well, it's just ridiculous. You know, like the rhetoric, the hateful rhetoric I said 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I said, if this rhetoric continues about comparing ICE to the Nazis and racists and terrorist groups, I mean, you got Congressman Jay Paul saying they're a terror group.
Right.
You got AOC saying they're violating civil rights. I mean, if this rhetoric continues, I said there's going to be a live loss. Either it's going to be a criminal or it's going to be an ICE officer or a Border Patrol agent, and it happened yesterday. The rhetoric is out of control. These members of Congress, they need to just shut up, because ICE is just, all they're doing is enforcing the laws that Congress wrote, and Congress appropriates some funds to enforce. They're enforcing judges' orders. People that had due process and a federal judge said they must leave, we have to execute those orders. They're doing their job, and it's already a dangerous job. They're making it much more dangerous. People like Mayor Bass, who shows up in operation, I'll give her the same warning I give everybody else. You can hate ICE all you want. Shame on you. You can exercise your First Amendment rights. When you cross that line, if you impede us, we will arrest you. That's all there is to it. There's zero tolerance. The DOJ has made it clear. Zero tolerance on impeding ICE in their operations. It's
Tom Homan, the border czar. Tom, is it true that you've literally got people in places like Denver that instead of handing you guys the bad guy, they're releasing them in a parking lot so you can go and grab them yourself? They are so afraid just to hand the person off that you've got to go and do these raids that you're doing. Is that really happening, where they're just letting them out and then you guys have to grab them and rearrest them?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What is that?
Officers being hurt doing it. It's putting politics over public safety. They want anything to do with President Trump and his policies, or ICE, because they're enforcing Trump's, his plan that he was put in the White House for, to enforce the immigration law.
Yes.
Look, here's what you need to understand. ICE is trying to concentrate on the public safety threats and national security threats, and jails are releasing public safety threats to the street every day. And Denver, you're right. They released a guy in the parking lot. What happened? The ICE officer got injured trying to take him in custody. These criminals have been emboldened by sanctuary cities, because they know sanctuary cities protect them. And so it's making the ICE and Border Patrol job is dangerous already, but with this rhetoric and this anti-Trump and this anti-ICE actions being taken by mayors and governors, it's making their job much more dangerous. And I go to bed every night praying that every ICE officer and Border Patrol agent goes home safe. But it's a matter of time. I mean, we had agents, we got Molotov cocktails thrown at our agents in L.A.
Sick.
We had a group of protesters show up in the Alvarado facility with automatic weapons to ambush ICE officers, and they end up shooting a local PD officer in the neck. We got the guy who attacked the Border Patrol office over in Texas yesterday. Well, he attacked the wrong office. He attacked the office that housed BORTAC and Special Operations Divisions, the finest SWAT team in the world. He picked the wrong building to start shooting at. But this rhetoric has to stop, or more blood will be shed.
It is Tom Homan, the border czar. Tom, that was in McAllen. I'm in the San Antonio area, as you know. Is there any more information you could tell us about that? Just some guy shows up and starts shooting? Do we know anything else about what happened there?
We're still diving deep on it. I know that he was a big fan of Call to Order. What was it? Call of Duty.
Right, Call of Duty, right.
Internet game, with violent game, and there's an antagonist character in there. He claimed to be that guy. He spray painted his car a slogan from that. And look, is it connected to the attack at Alvarado? We're looking at that now, if they're connected. We're also trying to find out if this is a planned operation, who's funding it. So there's a lot of investigation going on right now. We're going to find out who's accountable, and we're going to hold them accountable. Absolutely. It's
Tom Homan, the border czar. Tom, you and I talked about this a lot over the years, and I've been saying this on my show, and I want you to either say that I'm right or wrong on this. I'm pretty sure I get what you're laying down. When you go to a place like Boston or Chicago or L.A. or these sanctuary areas where the mayors purposely aren't helping, the law enforcement are told not to help you, that's when you have to go in and do the raids to get the most violent people, and then anybody else who's in there, you check their IDs. If they're here illegally too, they're going to go as collateral collateral. If those cities, those mayors would cooperate with you, you wouldn't be getting all this collateral stuff. You'd only be going and getting the worst of the worst. Am I right about that?
You're absolutely correct. Let us in the jail, more agents in jail or less agents in communities. But because they don't let us in the jail, because they knowingly release the public safety trust in the community, that means we got to go to the community and find them. We send a whole team to go find them because of officer safety concerns. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want: more agents in the communities and more collateral arrests. Because when we find the bad guy, and we usually do, they're with others. Others that may not be a criminal target, but they're in the country illegally. We're not turning a blind eye to them. They're coming too.
I got a call from the guy at my Tucson affiliate in Arizona. He said there was a situation where somebody had been deported. They came back after being deported. Then they brought weapons and they were holding somebody hostage. They actually, I guess, killed a guy, stole his truck. Are you aware of that story in the Tucson sector? Or are you aware at least of stories that are similar to that, where people are being deported, they're coming back in, going to sanctuary states like Arizona that shouldn't be, but Katie Hobbs is a horrible governor. Are you aware of stories like that these bad guys are being deported by you and by this president, coming back and bringing violence back with them?
I'm not aware of a specific incident, but
right.
Yeah, we people want to rush to sanctuary cities because they're going to be protected. Look, you can be arrested for a crime in these cities, be in the country illegally, and even if the law enforcement officers want to help, they're not allowed to even talk to ICE. Tucson's one of those cities where the local PD is not allowed to operate with ICE at all, at any level. There are cities that are tracking. Look, Letitia James, Attorney General of New York, is investigating a sheriff in northern New York about what connections you have with ICE. What have you done for ICE? And they're actually doing a full investigation on this sheriff. So, yeah, these sanctuary cities in the states, they're a safe haven for criminals. Look, they're a sanctuary for criminals, and that's the bottom line. So sanctuary cities are going to – criminals are going to go to these sanctuary cities because they know they commit a crime. They may get arrested and have to do some time in jail, but they're not going to call ICE. They're not allowed to call ICE. So
that's stunning.
Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals, bottom line.
It is Tom Homan. The borders are. Tom, a couple of minutes left. I appreciate you taking the time. A couple of things here. The lie out there is that it's not against the law to come across the border illegally. Of course, 8 U.S.C. 1325 says it is. It's a crime. It's actually a felony, 1326, if you come back after having been deported. How do you have to combat the false information that's out there? The left is perpetrating lies that coming across the border illegally is somehow a civil fine, like a traffic ticket, when it's not. It's criminal.
Look, they know exactly what they're doing. I said from day one when President Trump got back in the White House, the vilification of ICE and Border Patrol will start day one. They're going to lie about what ICE does. They're going to lie about what Border Patrol does. They're going to lie about like you just said, the law and what's legal, what's not legal. And they say that these, it's just innocent illegal immigration, people coming for better life. You know what? They don't understand there's a whole ugly underbelly of illegal immigration. That how the cartels treat these people, and that they come into the country and they're forced into labor, forced into sex slavery to pay off their smuggling fees, and they're indentured forever. They don't understand the whole ugly underbelly of the border. Illegal immigration is not a victim of this crime, and so we're going to enforce the law. So they're going to keep spreading this misinformation. Me and other people's administration getting out as much as we can to speak truth. The latest story is the majority of people ICE arresting are not public safety threats. That's a bunch of bull crap. I look at the data every day. Nearly 70%, everybody we arrest is a criminal. And the others are collateral arrests that we mostly arrest in sanctuary cities while we're looking for the criminal. So we're going to keep pushing the truth out, but the left's going to continue to vilify this administration. It's almost like they hate President Trump more than they respect public safety. Yeah. They hate President Trump more than they love their community, and it's just disgusting.
It's Tom Homan. Borders are. Last question, Tom. Thanks for that. Listen, the fact that you put the 70% out there nationally is very important because nobody's hearing that number. I'm glad that it came from you. Last question is this: has ICE arrested and deported any American citizens that you know of?
No.
Because that's out there, right? They're lying about that every day that you're arresting American citizens.
The thing they're talking about is children. Look, if you're illegally in the United States,
yes,
and while you're here, you get ordered deportation, and you go hide out and don't leave, and you choose to have a U.S. citizen child in this country, that don't make you immune from our laws. So when we find you and deport you, guess what? It's parenting 101.
Yes,
you're the parent. You make the decision. The child goes with you, or the child can stay here with a relative or the other spouse, whatever. But having a child, U.S. citizen child in this country don't make him immune from law. So we don't deport U.S. citizen. In the cases you're talking about, the mother requests the child go with them.
Of course.
That's parenting 101. It's not a government decision. It's a parent's decision. And I tell you what, if we didn't do it, then the next story would be we're separating families.
Exactly right. Tom, you're doing an amazing job, my brother. The Border Czar, Tom Homan. Thank you for coming on. Let's do it again soon. Thanks for the time today.
You got it. Thank you.
Appreciate you. It's Tom Homan, the Border Czar, and he's right.